Hello, and welcome again to the Interpreter's Voice. I must admit that today is one of those days when I just don't really know where to look when I'm recording. So much for that. As I believe my voice is quite clear and the text is going to be very simple, you're not going to have any problems whatsoever interpreting into your mother tongue or a language. What are we going to do today? Well, we're covering the topic of learning a foreign language. The text has been devised for a very simple simultaneous interpreting exercise. You can use it as a warm-up to boost your confidence. And whenever you're ready, let's go! Learning a foreign language. As interpreters, we are obsessed with languages. This means that we want to learn as many languages as we can to add them to our professional armamentarium. However, I do believe that sometimes it is good to just relax and enjoy studying a foreign language because it brings you closer to a culture or a country you are interested in. Although learning a foreign language may sound like a challenging task, it can be very rewarding, even if you just do it for pleasure, believe it or not. And I think I mentioned this already before. At the same time, I believe that you should take advantage of the many free educational materials that are made available for learning a new language. All that you require is focus, time, and motivation to learn something new. Note, when I talk about motivation, I understand that there will be many days when you're not motivated enough to sit down and study. Therefore, you're going to have to resort to discipline for that purpose. Okay? Motivation is not the only key, therefore. Learning a new language is going to provide benefits for your social life, your career, brain health, and self-esteem. And don't forget that you might even have fun. And I mean, if it is not fun, then just learn something else. You never know which new skills you can acquire that will come in handy in the future. Nonetheless, to convince you further, I would like you to consider the benefits of learning a new language, if not for interpreting. First of all, it's going to help you to meet an entirely new group of people. Let us think, or imagine that you live in an area where there is a large Chinese-speaking population, like where I live. Maybe you would like to have pen pals on the other side of the world. And when you speak a new foreign language, a whole new world and worth of population is out there waiting for you to communicate with them. Secondly, if you learn a new language, you're going to give your brain a serious workout as well as a power boost. There are many studies that prove that your memory and critical thinking abilities are enhanced when you learn a new language. This is because it is a very challenging undertaking that is going to create neural pathways that are new in your brain and are going to have an impact in your deduction and reasoning skills because they're going to be activated. And it might even help you to view, reason, and interpret ideas in a completely different way. Thirdly, you're going to have more employment opportunities whether or not you are an interpreter. Remember that 4 out of 5 new jobs are created in response to global demand. Therefore, you're going to become more valuable as an employee and more attractive as a job candidate when you know a foreign language. Furthermore, you might even get the chance to work in another country. Fourth, one of my favorites about learning a new language is that you gain appreciation for art, music, philosophy, and science. Reading the originals of great works provides you with a different insight because it helps you to understand how people express themselves in that culture. Knowing a foreign language at the same time is going to give you better access to the art, music, philosophy, as I said before, of that area of the world and allow you to compare it to your own culture, which sometimes is an extremely interesting exercise. What else can I say about learning a foreign language? Well, it's going to allow you to travel easier and less expensively. While there are many great hotels in most of the world with English-speaking staff, they can be expensive. But if you know the language, you have more lodging opportunities and you're not going to require a local guide or someone to assist you with communication. It's going to mean that you're going to be able to fend for yourself, you're going to mix with locals, and even be able to organize your own trip and tours. Language learning also slows brain aging. There are studies that show that learning a new language can slow the effect of aging in the brain. This means you are prolonging your brain's vitality by learning a new language. After all, I did mention before how the learning process creates new neural networks. While you're learning a new language, you're enhancing your English or your mother tongue. Ha ha! And why am I saying this? Because you probably don't think about your native language very much, do you? We largely learn to speak without a careful consideration of sentence structure or even thinking about verb tenses. And these are things that you need to take into account when you are learning a new language. It's also going to help you view English or your mother tongue in a completely different way. Learning a new language is going to boost your self-esteem and make yourself more interesting. While speaking multiple languages is the norm in many parts of the world, in some countries it is unusual to speak languages other than English. But if you do speak a language that is not English, you're going to stand out from the crowd and you're probably going to start feeling pretty good about yourself. Because how many people do you know in your social circle who are not interpreters that can speak at least two languages fluently? Learning a new language also enhances your perspective of life and the world. We all know that the world out there is huge, but you get to know more about it when you expand your horizons and you learn the language of another country or area of the world. Suddenly, your perception of the world is increased considerably and access is expanded as well. Learning a new language is going to allow you to study or live overseas. Because have you ever wanted to live or study overseas? Well, if you don't speak the local language, this dream is going to be far more challenging to achieve than you think. So my question now is, what language are you going to learn? You can, of course, be practical and choose the language that you are most likely to use for work or which is going to be more beneficial for your career. Although I think you could also decide to learn the language that interests you the most. The choice is up to you. Don't forget that learning a language can be fun and interesting. Of course it's challenging, but I suggest you get on YouTube and check out a few languages that interest you while remembering you will benefit in many ways by adding a new language to your repertoire. Oh, and of course, don't forget the following website, www.omniglot.org. Thank you very much for your attention.